So, one thing I'm wondering, when it comes to industrial software, of course, there's numerous different models used,
Yeah.
but, specific to this, the software versus hardware differentiation approach that we've been discussing, how should OEMs approach the decision around which model or multiple models to use?
Yeah, and it's one of the key questions that companies struggle through. The first thing I would say is this is going to be iterative, right? Not in a grand scale, but things change. Customers' willingness to pay change. You have a smaller competitor, they come in and they make up a plan or feature you had table stakes. But the common models are you can go with a flat subscription, which many is usually the first step. The
Mhm.
flat subscription means you get pretty much all the functionality in the software at some subscription. Everyone pays the same price and they get the same functionality. Another model is usage based. You pay based on consumption. That's a while away. I think yet still in industrial, where companies are sort of being more preferential is around this idea of modular license or feature based, right? You have the option to have different features on and off, which gives you the ability now to have different plans, right? So I'm seeing that, but there is a trend, an upcoming trend where companies are trying to get a more hybrid approach where they have that modular license plus some level of usage, right? Then that comes now with AI. AI changed the entire economics of subscription, right? So it's usually advantageous where the value aligns to the end customer to have some usage. But I am seeing a lot. So today, a lot of companies are doing modular, but the desire is to see how to sort of have a hybrid modular plus usage.
Okay. So, touching on that modular licensing approach for OEMs, can you explain how that works with industrial devices specifically?
Oh, absolutely. So the concept of modular, again, right, it's the ability to sort of have different features, plans, modules, right, on and off at a basic level, right? Feature on, feature off. As I mentioned there before, you need first and foremost some licensing technology to make sure you have feature on and off there. Many companies they try to write it their own, but there's too many constraints with your own engineering managing that, right? The first constraint is if you need to sell a new plan or a new module that you didn't prepare for, you're going to have to pull your engineering off of your innovation to have to rewrite this, which you really don't want to do. So this gives a level of sort of dynamics, right? You have the ability to create different tiers. If you think of any typical software, you have a good, better, best plan, right, as we call it. Different features inside of different tiers, and you sell different plans. So the concept there is you want to design those plans in the path. That's sort of a step upgrade for your customers. You want to tie those plans to the value and or the use cases that you solve for your customers. So as they either use more or need more use cases, they graduate to the different modules or tiers, of course, expanding their use of your platform.
So how granular should manufacturers get with this modular? I
Yeah,
mean, are we talking about
yeah,
licensing every capability, or are there practical limits
yeah.
that you would recommend?
Balance for sure. There's
Mhm.
balance. If you do it wrong, you could highly annoy your customers and or buyers and just make it confusing, right? Too much granularity will stall contracts. There's too much to think about that introduce a lot of risks that the buyer need to prepare for. So you're right. You can get granular on a number of levels, right? So each module or functionality can have its own license model, right? It can be subscription or usage. You can have its own entitlement rules, right? Who can use it? How much can they use? And even activation time and when can it be consumed, right? In the factory, post deployment, etc. So here's where a lot of work comes in, right? You really have to know your customer. You have to understand the market's willingness to pay, right? And of course, you have to have a healthy amount of experimentation as well. I've launched a number of products, not industrial manufacturing, but a number of products as a recovering product manager. And I know that the first price and package you go to market with, you're leaving something on the table, but you need to learn from that and iterate. So here's the key. You want to make sure you have a platform that enables you to iterate without calling your engineering team to have to make some changes. But then ultimately, you want to take a first sensible approach, right? As I mentioned before, usually the first foray into monetizing software in the industrial side is a flat rate subscription, unless you have some really great data to know uh, how granular to get. And then from there, you'll find out and find that balance. What features should be on and off in the plan, etc. But yeah, you can get very granular, but you want to make sure you get to a point where things are configurable. You'll always have a standard, and you'll always have some back pocket deals, right? So some of your largest customers will ask for a level of granularity or configuration you may not want to sell to everyone else. So you do want to have that flexibility to manage both.